Hello, good evening. Chris Hughes from Rebound here for another show on Upstreamedia. I hope you're all well as we approach another week of what's this lockdown's been. If you're new to the channel, obviously subscribe and share any content you do. Get the word out there. Say Upstreamedia do a great job producing content during this time. For you guys who may not know, used to the season, the live stream all the Thames Valley Cavaliers home games. We have different commentators, giving lots of people great opportunities, and Rupert Charles and his family do a great job. His son was one of many people recognised as volunteer of the year. During this off season, Rupert's done this YouTube channel to have a forum to chat anything British basketball. Multiple different hosts. I've got Rupert did a show at the start with a few of his friends and coaches. We've got myself, who does the show most evenings, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then you've got CJ Lee, who does his once a week slot. They call me coach. That's a lot of great content on that show. Definitely recommend watching that one, as well as the other show that's on pretty much weekly, the High Rollers, and they have great guests and it's great chat and it's really diversified my interest in basketball. So definitely look out for all of those. So a bit about my show. I tend to have either a format where I just talk about something that's interesting me this week or something that I've been thinking about a while, or I get a guest on. I've had some really good guests from players, coaches, referees, and we discuss basketball. And then we read great shows for me. I found them really informative. The guests have been really great with their content they've shared, talked about, and also there's been very insightful conversations. And say you head to the channel after this video, watch them all, then they're all really good views. And I say I hope you enjoy them. And it's a great privilege to have this chance to sort of talk a bit about basketball and give us something to listen and watch to. So tonight's show is a bit of a two-parter because I think a combination of a few things really got me thinking. So tonight I've sort of talked about sort of the reflections on my journey for Rebounds, my new basketball blog, but also about how we can promote more people to talk about basketball, because I think the more we have promoting the game, the bigger audience we reach, and also from a personal point of view, having more people talking, it's great for me to research and improve my game, also learn more about the sport, which is a win-win situation for everyone. So I thought I'd start with sort of talking about what inspired me to make this video, and it's four things really. So there was a podcast all about the restraints of being a social media marketer of the game. A few videos last few months I've seen that maybe a little bit negative, or the negative messages has really sort of shined through more than maybe the rest. And also some of the challenges I see my peers have had from promoting British basketball. Also, one of the guys on Ballers Voice messaged me the other week and was really interested to see what my goal was with Rebound, what I wanted to achieve. And I thought that'd be great for me to discuss that today. And it links around sort of the positive message of promoting basketball, because that's kind of what I like to try to be doing. And that's what we've been doing the last 2 years of Rebound. And also, to promote the videos here and also promote my own sort of journal, I had an image commissioned. And I think the combination of having an image commissioned and those three things really got me thinking about my role in promoting British basketball, also other people's roles in promoting British basketball, and also how we can make an environment where more people want to come on and talk about basketball. I think we've got a really passionate fan base that's on social media, people sharing great ideas and also lots of stories. There was a separate podcast that I think it was Two Brits and One Orange Ball, and Brendan Okwonko said that like everyone has a story. And I think that's really true. And I think for us all to understand the game better, it's really great we share some of those stories. So that's some of the things I've been hearing with having the referee on, or some players or coaches, or even more stuff. I say this week I'll talk about at the end of the show. We've got the managing director of the franchise, so really great to get their perspectives. I think quite a current this issue is people's opinions on how we market the game or how clubs should operate. So it'd be really great to get their insights. Um, and I think where is a good way for me to start this video is sort of talk a bit about what's inspired me. And I think the best I've had two bits of advice from from before I was doing rebound, but really sort of carried on with me. And I think it's one of them is be the change you want to be, and I think that's really important for me. And it's kind of how rebound was born. I mentioned it a few times on the previous videos, so I won't go too much in detail. But essentially, me and my best mate, we've been watching basketball for 2 seasons almost, and we're still quite frustrated on how there's a lack of content out there for basketball. So we essentially put our money where our mouth is and started rebound, and it's grown to what it is today, which I'm really proud of. And neither of us expected to get to where it was. And then the second bit, I think the advice really stuck because the person who sent it to me was maybe sort of somebody who inspired me that much and maybe didn't have a better relationship with. But it was about being the change you want. Not sorry, that's not it. It's about like the locus of control. So you sort of you can only really control your own actions. And for me, it's a really good part of my journey, and it kind of links to things that inspire me, because I think in any form of life there's negativity, if that's on the news at the moment, or if it's how your opinion on something, if that's what challenges you to do your job, or whatever it is your passion is, not just basketball, but whatever your passion is. But for me, what's really helped buffer any negatives is actually reflecting on it, saying, how can I, what can I do about it? If it's something I can't really do much about, but it's about limiting the upset or difficulties that's caused me. You can only really control your own actions. So for me, it's really benefited me when I've been promoting rebound. Obviously, not as perfect, and I'm still learning now, and I think that's one of the benefits. That's really the benefit to start of promoting basketball. I feel when I had those four inspirations, it really got me thinking about basketball 3 ways, and it's sort of like your personal growth, basketball growth, and your brand's growth in terms of promoting basketball. And I think it's hard to not include assets of those three. And for me, doing rebounds to improve my confidence, that's from speaking on YouTube or doing the commentating or actually believing in my voice or the message I'm trying to convey in the post. So I really recommend people to get into promoting basketball, especially British basketball. I think there's a lot of benefits you can reap from it. It's a really great experience, and one I definitely do not regret. And it's the passion's grown over time. But then also, personal wise, I've had great opportunities. I mentioned the Upstreamedia guys, so we had the opportunity this season to commentate on games. That's been really great. But also do this daily show. So there's a lot of benefits to being a social media outlet or a promoter of basketball. And I think quite often, especially if we're feeling a bit negative, it's easy to talk negatives, but there are a lot of positives, and I would really encourage people to go out there and promote it. If it's something you're interested in, promote it. I talked about a podcast about the restricted, and one of the things really struck true for me was that I think most people get into it because they want to create the content they want to see. And I said there's a massive space it's being filled at the moment, but we'll see during the season whether there's still that space. But I think there's always space. More people talk about basketball, and if it's content you like and other people like it, it makes a positive change. One thing I haven't looked at is that I saw some content I really liked in an American game, and it's like the £15 challenge, and you got £15 to spend, and you got to pick a 5 basketball team. I thought that'd be great. I'd love to like debate that. So I read about doing it, and like I say, if you've got a brand or thing, you have that freedom to put out content that you think you enjoy, and it got a lot of engagement. They got debate going. Um, I purposely put in the order it was. I didn't really want. I quite like it, content when it's sort of when people see why you've done it. There's no question. I'd rather people to enjoy it for what it is. I think if you say like Kobe's £1 player or Kobe's £5 player, you're like, oh, why has he done that? But with the £5, £4, £3, £2, £1 order, I just kept them how they came in the People's Choice Awards. But as I say, the benefits of me putting that content out, which I enjoy seeing at other places, so that's NBA media or other walks of life, was that it really picked on. And Barcelona England have done 2 posts this week from that, which I imagine that gave them confidence to try something new. So I think quite often we criticise maybe B or the NBL teams for not putting content out there, but what we've got to remember is that the resources are lacking. And for me, part of my journey of doing Reba, I've learned that even though everyone's really passionate about sport, there's only so much people can do. Like the clubs rely on coaches on their social media, for instance, or the franchise don't have enough money to really spend that time to put content out. But if you're putting great content out, you're saying to the clubs, the organisation, other people out there, this is something people like. You see it a lot of runners, a lot of people comment on it, a lot of people get involved in it, and you can influence change that way. I think it's a really positive way. And I'll definitely repeat, but if you're interested in basketball and maybe a bit frustrated that maybe things aren't going the way you'd like it to in the media, or you have an idea, go out there, you do it. I say it's a great journey. I've really enjoyed it. And for me, the negativity next to none. There have been negatives, not going to lie, but I think if you think, but like in any walk of life, there's always negatives. That'll serve you well, because the positives outweigh any negatives. I really encourage people to do it, and I've really enjoyed seeing all these new podcasts, new content come out, and I think it's really great for the game. And I think, yes, we lack resources to really truly grow the game, but actually, if we're doing the top content, we're attracting people, the maximum amount of people we can attract, and we could grow the game by that. And I think it was just as good as throwing a big box of money in, because it's a bit more sustainable. And also, if you're creating content that's engages with a lot of people, it's only a good thing. There's not a negative to that. Of course, obviously, it'd be great if we had a big pot of gold to put the BBL, NBL, British game on a par or close to par space of other European countries. The NBA, that would be great. But what's more achievable is actually having content that engages people, gets positive discussions going, or even negative discussions. It's maybe not too much to say negative, but having people talk about basketball, more of an interest in basketball, is only going to be a positive thing. For me, I started as a fan of a franchise, started to rebound to learn more about the league, and ended up wanting to learn even more about that's international, that's the lane to the junior game, players playing abroad, foreign players playing in this country. So I definitely found on my journey I've got more things I'm interested in. So that's obviously a real good positive for if that's for you guys, if you want to end up doing what I've been doing with Rebound, or what so many other people do, so many other great content out there. I've really enjoyed all the new guys from the scene putting out content. I think, especially people who've had that experience of being players, or even the guests on my show who've been officials, coaches, players, having their journey, their insights out there for people to listen to and learn from is really good. And I think that's been a real positive for what's going on at the moment, having all these great discussions. So I kind of wanted to move on a bit to the first thing that really sort of motivated me, and it was the podcast I was talking about. It was an interesting podcast, and it was about restraints, and obviously there was a few negative things, and obviously everyone's journey is different, and I think if you have a bit of perspective, obviously, but that lessens the negatives, but it's it's important to get those out there because I think maybe not those have negatives, but we all have things we've done that maybe had a negative effect on basketball or a negative effect on others. And actually having to reflect on that, it makes us better people. So I've made mistakes because I think, as I say, I'm a fan of a franchise, but also trying to promote the league. And for me, the big challenge is sort of separating being a fan of a club and also being a fan of the general basketball. And that's what I'm always striving to try and have a clear connect to. So that's hard to work on. But there's other things people found a bit challenging. But I think if you obviously have that perspective I just mentioned about, but also I think if there's more people out to create content, it changes the mindset a bit. They mentioned about this closed door mindset, and I definitely appreciate that. But again, I think it's possibly a closed door mindset because there's not much out there in begin with. But also, if we have more people talking, more people discussing, things get slipped through the doors. I mentioned about the thing I did with the £15 challenge. Things, ideas get shared. Just ourselves saying, "Gosh, you should be doing that." It's just one person. It might be a few people all thinking that separately. But if you have something really positive, really, or just something positive, it's something you've done well with, it catches on. I think we've seen in the last few years how the works of Hoop Fix Joe Pigeon have influenced lots of people to do really great content. And again, I think, we talk about negativity sometimes, and it's important too because, it's the other side of the coin, but there's just so much good positive stuff going out there. And I think it's a really bright future for British basketball. And we hope the work people does continue because I've really enjoyed listening to a wide range of podcasts and YouTube shows. I touched on it earlier, and I sort of said about how, for me, when I think about rebound and progression we made, it's quite hard for me not to separate it into three things. So I've said about personal growth, but from personal, people at games ask me, "Oh, you're from rebound." I really appreciate that. That's personal praise. That's really good. And that's safe if you guys want to do it. There are, your work. From my personal experience, there is job satisfaction out there to do it, and I'd really recommend to. Say if you're a labour of love, I've really enjoyed doing rebound. I recommend people go out there and do it themselves. So you've got that passion, and I think your passion grows, and there's so much benefit from it. I feel like sharing the stories from other clubs, it really grows their audience. There's a lot of benefits, not just sort of personal, but you benefit the basketball in the country, but also you benefit your brand. More people hear about you, and it's just great. And I really recommend the whole process. It sort of leads me on to my last bit. It's sort of a bit about, for me, I felt like when I started to rebound, I never really thought it would get to what it was now. I just thought it'd be just retweeting the news, what I was doing on Twitter, sort of keeping people informed of what was going on. But it's been great. But I've been given opportunities as this one with Upstreamedia, and also this Solent commentator on the Bucks game. So that's been really good, and I really recommend if you guys like basketball, like talking, like tweeting about basketball, maybe a little bit frustrated, maybe you think things should be going in a different direction to maybe what they are, if that's a club level organisation, or maybe you don't like some of the content out there, be the change you want to see, really. I really recommend it, and I've really enjoyed the journey. And I say it's developed more than I thought it was, say, trying to make sure my brand is up to date and learning skills like to transfer any sort of job. So it's really good thing to do. I think I've covered most things. I really hope that people watching this who have sort of not done something like the BBL Fix or Rebound or Hoots Fix, anything, or any of the podcasts, maybe sort of listen to this thing. Oh, also watch this. So I forget it's a YouTube, but I guess watching and listening the same thing. But go away and think, oh, actually, I think I might try to do that. I say it's really rewarding. I've really enjoyed it. and I've enjoyed learning more about basketball, spreading some good stories going about, and also just covering the league. You get that connection with players, you sort of interact with them, you sort of build their brand as it is. So, like, if you're promoting their stats, their leagues, hopefully that it's picked up. We've seen great stuff. Dave Owen, he's this stat collection. He's been players have really seen the benefit of his work. So it's definitely marketing have a real role to play in promoting basketball. I really hope people go away from this and consider it, because I think it's a really great thing to do. I've enjoyed it. I know a lot of the guys who currently do it really enjoy it, even when there are the challenges. Um, and I think that's pretty much everything on that topic. I'm sure I could go for hours on it, but in terms of not over talking on the subject, I think I've covered it all. So I want to leave. I I just realised I hadn't covered the fourth information video. So as I said, Baller's Voice messaged me the other day. I said I'd like to talk to the guys. I'm really enjoying promoting everyone's work. Head to the Rebound website. There's a whole guide of everything that goes on here, and also on other channels and other things, all doing the same great work promoting British basketball. But they were really intrigued to see what my goals were for Rebound. And I think it's a really tough question for me, because I think when I started doing Rebound, it was literally to be the news or be the content I wanted to see. And I think that still stays the same. But we started a two-man team and predominantly going towards a more one-man team. So I'm always quite wary of how much work I can do alongside a full-time job and other responsibilities. But I think for golf or Rebound, in terms of a personal one, I've really enjoyed doing commentating. So I'd definitely love to do more commentating. I don't really my interest are in British basketball, so anything in British basketball is great, no matter what level. I just really enjoy watching basketball and commentating and learning more. I say I've always stated this videos. I'm a fan. I've noticed his players. So I'm always interested in learning more about the game. That's the rules, sort of the tactics, players' histories, and that really sort of leads to why I do the videos I do. Just for a person, I might want to learn about their story, but also I feel their story is really important to promote on a basketball level and also promote the game. In terms of where I see the goal for Rebound itself, I'm really happy with where it is at the moment, and unless we were a bigger team, it's really hard to sort of diverge or change it too much. To say with one man team, it's hard to deliver great content if I'm expanding too much. Say so much doing the say predominantly we cover the NBL D1, and I think that is something we'll continue to cover. But I also want to expand it a bit to have it covering all aspects of games. So I'm really interested as my individual passion has grown. It's sort of also directed where I take Rebound and say I'd love to Rebound to sort of cover all aspects of British basketball, but I think it's really hard to cover it all evenly. I think we still have our USP of covering the NBL, but I really want to promote both the ladies and the men's game equally. So definitely homework for me is to learn a bit more about the WNBL one and the BBL and WBL. But there's so much content out there. I'm more than happy with Rebound to be an NBL one basketball site, but also share some of the great stories that goes on outside of that. I mean, I think in terms of what Rebound to do for British basketball, my goal is still the same. We want to promote basketball, to make it make it a game that more and more people enjoying it. I always say I feel British basketball needs a lot of TLC, and I really hope that the work I do helps towards that, because I really enjoy the game, and everyone I meet in it, I feel deserves to have that respect. I think it's disheartening for me. It started to be frustrating, but football and basketball are on the same level, but I'd love to be a bit more parity, because I feel the people in basketball work just as hard as people in football. In terms of a event. I enjoy them equally. They're great, and I really hope that the game grows to what it deserves to be. I think from what I've learned from English basketball history site and people who've been in the game longer than myself, um, having that Sky money really helped. And there's always a massive national interest in it. It's just about getting that to be competed with other sports. There's seats on bubs on the match days, that's Saturday or on the Friday evening ones. But we definitely, and there does seem to be a lot of interest in the country in what happens across the pond in America. And so I really hope for the guys at Borders Voice that answer their question. And I also hope for people watching this that it's doing a positive spin on social media marketing. There's a lot of positives, and I really recommend it for anyone. I think for me, it started as a 1 or 2 hour week passion, but now it's gone to a bit more full time job passion alongside my full time job. But what's quite good about it is whatever time we've got to spend on it is fine. You know, it's still going to see the benefits of it. And I really recommend you guys. I've said many times already in this video to pursue it if it's something you're interested in. Like, I hope no one gets put off by any of the negatives, because there are some. And I think some of the negatives are when maybe you'll try to promote a single club, possibly. I mean, some of the negatives the guys alluded to or mentioned on top of I have experienced personally, but I think a lot of them, if you're doing an even spread, I think teams see that for what it is, and people out there see it for what it is, and usually positively respond to it. There's always, I think it's not a criticism on anyone in basketball, it's a general thing, but like in every walk of life, there's some negatives. But I think in terms of British basketball, if you want to be promoting it, I full-heartedly recommend it. I say the benefits way outweigh the negatives. Before I finish tonight, I say thank you for watching. I hope you're all well, staying safe. I think there's a lot of confusion going on at the moment in terms of general life, but I really hope everyone's looking after themselves, making sure they stay safe, following the advice that's given by the government, and looking after each other. To say sometimes I think it's easy to get frustrated, and I think we just sort of stay safe and sort of look after each other. I'd like to sort of finish by sort of saying what's on the show this week. We've got a lot of great shows. That's on my shows or CJ Lee's show. There's a lot of great content on this channel this week. So tomorrow evening, I'm joined by Krimesh Patel. He is former Leicester Riders ladies WBBL coach. I really look forward to having him on. He's got an opportunity to manage Sweden next season for the Sparks to be the head coach over there. And I really look forward to sort of talking about his time at Leicester and talking about the challenge ahead and what he's looking forward to, a bit about his story. They had really good season. They did well in a lot of competitions this season. They won the WBL trophy. So obviously talked a bit about that. Especially as it was sort of the last game of basketball pretty much in the entire world. So it's really good to get his memories out. People watch the show will obviously remember we had Nicolette from Durham Palatinate last week, so it'd be good to touch Leicester Riders' perspective from that final. Thursday is a bit of a throwback episode. I've got former Solent Kestrels guard Hermson on the show. He spent 2 years with the Kestrels, so it'd be great to touch him up on his time at the club, what he's been doing this season. He sort of took a year out from playing, but been promoting his brands and marketing himself to come back strong and also promote basketball in his hometown of Springfield, but also globally as part of the Make It Work project, as well as a Good Enough too. So I'll be speaking to him about that, his experiences, and some of his memories of the time at Kestrels and also Quincy University in America. So that's going to be a week of show. Friday, I say, has been the big news the last week or so. Teesside Lions recruited England head coach, or the guy who was standing in just because of contract issues, and head coach prior to that wasn't able to be released to play for those international games. So Mark Stutel stood in his former head coach's place, did really well, got that win versus Germany, really well decorated coach, and he's now going to be the new head coach of Teesside Lions. So on Friday's show, I got James Thompson, the managing director of the club. A lot of people eyebrows are raised on paper because it's a highly recognised coach going to managing NBL D3 next season. But I'm going to be talking with James, the managing director. I know they got a lot of ambition, and it'd be great to hear their views on how you market a club, and also how they came about to recruit such highly skilled coach who's sort of coach on an international level to go to D3. Obviously, it's a very enticing prospect to lure him away from international basketball. So that'd be great. We might even be joined by the marketing director to get more of a behind the scenes aspect of what goes on in terms of running the club. And on Saturday, I'm possibly got a returning guest on. We're just waiting for confirmation. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll have another idea of what to do on Saturday's show. But as I mentioned, with Teesside Lions getting a new coach, I'm really looking forward to Wednesday's Upstreamedia show, which will have CJ Lee interviewing the man himself, Mark Stutel, about his basketball journey, and also probably they'll be talking about that much debated news about him becoming a new head coach of Teesside Lions. I'm sure Upstreamedia will be on the air. Another great show. So stay tuned for more details about all the shows coming this week. And let's say that's it from me. Stay safe, goodbye, and take care. Bye now.